Okay, getting back into the swing of things. How do I do this again? Welcome back to my channel, ladies and gentlemen. So Phantom Nightmare is just around the corner, so I think just before that releases, I better upload a deck profile that kind of showcases what Archfiends can do in the meantime. So this is the core that you're seeing, and we can build on top of that by adding whichever variant that we kind of want. Some of this stuff is familiar to you, some of it is not, so standard lineup of the Archfiend Emperor and Empress combo. So Empress, of course, can revive things when she gets destroyed. Emperor is a good target for that. We've got a Shadow Knight Archfiend. We've got a couple of Chess Archfiends in this build, and the reason for that is because we run 3 small world. Chess Archfiends, different levels, different attacks and defenses. Most importantly, they have different attributes. So basically, they become a bridge to anything that you want in the deck. So because of that, I run Shadow Knight Archfiend, and then we've got Deathstroke Archfiend as well. So Deathstroke Archfiend is a light fiend, and because it's light, that lets us small world into Visa's Samsara. So more on that later. So we've got Archfiend Cavalry as a level 4, 3 Visa's Samsara, and then we have Dark Spirit of Banishment, 2 Archfiend Heiress, Scareclaw Arrival, 3 small world, 3 Falling Down, a Reichphobia, a Archfiend Labyrinth, 3 Archfiend Glitches, 2 Archfiends Raw, 1 Chaos Phantasm, and 1 Simul Archfiends. So you're probably wondering, why are you running Visa's Samsara? If you look carefully, it is a level 4 light monster, and it's a tuner. So being level 4, being a light tuner, means it's very easy to summon Chaos Archfiend off of it. In fact, you can summon Chaos Archfiend off of Visa's Samsara alone. So all we're going to do is normal summon Samsara, then link it off into Lichtheart, and then once that happens, you can search for Reichphobia, then you activate that, and then that searches, no it doesn't, activate that field spell. Reichphobia searches for our Scareclaw Reichheart. It can special summon itself, so you, just because we've got the link monster on the field, summon it into that column, and then you activate its effect to search for Scareclaw Arrival. So this goes into our hand, and this is basically a monster reborn for any sort of like Visa's monster or Scareclaw monster. So all you do is activate it, bring Visa's Samsara back from the graveyard, and then you've got these 2 level 4 monsters, and that goes straight into Chaos Archfiend. So with 1 card, we've got our strongest Archfiend monster on our side of the field. So going second, provided you can pull off that line, you can probably just win the game by summoning it and then attacking over everything, because remember, it gets a huge attack boost and banishes everything that it attacks. Very strong. So you may have noticed that a big game plan in this particular build is to use Small World to bridge into Samsara, and then you summon it, and then you go into Chaos Archfiend and attack for game. You've got your other Archfiend monsters here, such as Empress, which allows you to revive Chaos Archfiend. If Chaos Archfiend dies, he can summon Chaos Angel and then banish more things, so it's pretty strong like that. Falling Down is pretty easy to pull off with this particular build, so you've got your 3 Snatch Steal in there. And then Chaos Phantasm is particularly strong because you banish your 2 Samsara. You banish your Visa Samsara and your Scareclaw monster to summon Astrolaud, which is the fusion. And then you've got your 2 monsters that you can put back into the graveyard with Chaos Phantasm to summon another Chaos Archfiend. So you can have, it's quite common to have 2 Chaos Archfiend on your side of the field. So to bulk this out a little bit further, you could run more Mannadium cards. So you've got a kind of Archfiend Mannadium hybrid. And this is quite useful because cards like Mannadium Abscission let you destroy stuff, which can also trigger your Archfiend cards. So this is effectively a 2-card combo, but we can also make it sort of like a 2.5 card, so any card that's in your hand will do. I'm just using ARS just to show you like what else you can do with this deck. So you're gonna summon these 2, synchro them off into Trisukta, activate Trisukta's effect, revive Meek onto your side of the field. You have a level 8 synchro in the works, so you synchro those both off into Visa's Amritara, activate its effect to search for Abscission. So Abscission is going to come in handy later, but for now we'll just link this off into Lichtheart, activate its effect, search for Reichphobia, activate the field spell in order to search for a good old Scareclaw Reichheart. Scareclaw Reichheart is going to summon itself. That is going to search for Scareclaw Arrival, which you know is your monster reborn. You're going to activate that to revive Samsara. So remember, at this point, if you wanted, you can go into Chaos Archfiend, but instead we're going to go into Axel Stardust Synchro Dragon. That is going to revive Meek onto our side of the field. So now we have our level tuner again, level 2 tuner. And with that, now we'll activate Abscission, pop the Meek, bring Peaceful Planet Calarium onto our side of the field, Meek's effect will activate to revive, well, to float into a second version of itself. We're not going to bother increasing the level at this stage because we're going to activate the field spell. That is going to search for Room Heart. This will then blast Meek into oblivion to summon itself. And now we have a 3 sort of chain link situation. So chain link 1 Meek, chain link 2 Room Heart, and then chain link 3 the Peaceful Planet. That planet just revives the tuner back onto our side of the field. The Room Heart searches, in this case it's going to be reframing, it's going to come in handy later. And then our floating Meek is going to have its level increased by 2, so that one's level 4. So now we've got a situation here where we're going to synchro off into Dispatter, and then we're also going to link off into Cross Sheep. And basically you're going to do that because you want an extra special summon. So if you summon Astrolabe now, banishing Samsara, banishing Room Heart into the zone it points to, so that allows you to use Cross Sheep's effect. This will revive our Reichheart, and this is going to come in handy for any Chaos Archfiend plays that we might want to do. So by using Dispatter's effect, we can revive Samsara. So at this point, we've achieved what we had in the previous combo, only now, in addition to Chaos Archfiend, we have Dispatter's sort of negating or destroying effect as well, so we've got that extra disruption. We can take it a step further by synchroing off our monsters into Crimson Dragon. Crimson Dragon will then search for Synchro Rumble, link off Crimson Dragon and Cross Sheep into Muckraker. We can activate Synchro Rumble. This is going to revive Amritaro onto our side of the field. So now we have a level 8 tuner and a level 8 Synchro monster. Synchro those off into Ultimaya Zolkin. And now because we have a spell or trap card, which is also a negate by the way, we can set that, which allows us to activate Zolkin's effect, summoning Ancient Fairy Dragon. Ancient Fairy Dragon's effect is going to blow up our field spell that we've got, give us 1,000 life points, and then add Archfiend Palabyrinth onto our side of the field. Activate Palabyrinth, then use Muckraker's effect to summon Chaos Archfiend, discard the Heiress, and then Heiress's effect will activate. So this can be any card, right? But just for the sake of it, now we can search for whatever we like. So we can search for Glitch, which will come in handy because then we can send a Dark Spirit. And then if our monsters blow up, then the Dark Spirit will recycle, and then we can just float again through all of that. You can search for Roar, which again is basically Dark Spirit at home. You can just revive whenever you like. You can search for Simmel. That's really useful as basically a stun card. It's probably the most powerful one, turn 1, because that will stop basically their whole combo, if that's the type of deck that they're doing. I'm just going to search Glitch for now. Then, because we've got our Chaos Archfiend and another Fiend, we can use Palabyrinth, targeting Chaos Archfiend, banish the Muckraker to summon Archfiend Empress. So now we have a situation here where we've got Empress, which also can protect by banishing Heiress. If they happen to both explode, you can summon Chaos Angel, and then Empress can also revive the Chaos Archfiend. And then we have Glitch as well, which to give us our Dark Spirit. And on top of that, we've got Dispatter to negate or destroy stuff, and then we also have Reframing, which is another negate and destroy. But that's not all. So there are other directions in which you might want to take that particular combo. So I'm going to go through the same process again. Alright, so we're back. All I've done is done that huge combo all the way up until we've summoned Crimson Dragon and searched for Synchro Rumble. We'll start things off with Dispatter summoning Samsara onto our side of the field. Right, so now we've summoned Samsara, we can then activate Lichtheart from the graveyard, summoning itself. Those two are going to link away into Muckraker. Then we are going to Synchro into Chaos Archfiend. Now we activate Synchro Rumble. This is going to revive Amritara onto our side of the field. Then, because we have a tuner and a Synchro of the same level, we're going to link Synchro both of those off into Bish Vulcan. Before we activate any of that, we're going to use Muckraker's effect to revive Chaos Archfiend by discarding Heiress in this case. So because it's Heiress, we can activate its effect to bring our Archfiend Palabyrinth onto our side of the field, so we may as well activate that now. Then we'll use Bish Vulcan's effect to bring just a couple of tokens onto the field, then use Palabyrinth, targeting Chaos Archfiend, getting rid of that token to summon Archfiend Empress. Then we have our reframing, right? So we just set that. So we have Empress, which is a float with Chaos Archfiend, so Chaos Angel can then summon itself and banish things. Empress can float back into Chaos Archfiend, which is nice. Muckraker can also protect stuff. P.U.N.K can't be destroyed, which is quite nice. Dispatter can negate or destroy. Reframing can negate and destroy. But more importantly, on their turn, you can activate Crimson Dragon's effect by targeting P.U.N.K, send it back into the extra deck, and then just summon Archfiend King Calamity, basically locking down their entire turn. Now, a slightly different build that doesn't use all of the Mannadium cards replaces those with Emergency Teleport and some of the P.U.N.K monsters. So we just kick things off with Emergency Teleport. And we're at Xiamin onto our side of the field. Activate its effect, bringing Foxy Tune to the hand. May as well use Foxy Tune at this point to special summon by discarding Heiress. Note, and it should be noted that it discards for effects, so we can use Heiress's effect to bring a card to our hand. In this case, it's going to be Palabyrinth. Those two will go into a Synchro monster, so that's going to be Mathmech Magma. Then we revive Foxy Tune, so this allows us to have a P.U.N.K in play, which is always good. So let's get rid of those two. Summon P.U.N.K. We're not going to activate its effect straight away. Instead, we're going to summon Samsara. Now, with that on our side of the field, now we'll activate P.U.N.K to put 3 tokens on both sides of the field, like that. Then we'll link off Samsara into Lich Heart. Its effect activates, searching for the field spell Reichphobia. Then this, you've seen it all before, activate it, search for Reich Heart, special summon it in good old defense mode. Then his effect will activate, bringing Arrival to our hand, but because there's a bunch of defense monsters, we get to draw another card, so that's pretty cool. Now at this point, we just link off Lich Heart, P.U.N.K, and a couple of tokens, and that's going to go into Link Mail Archfiend. Then we'll use our Arrival to bring Visa Samsara back from the grave. This will put us into a Chaos Archfiend play. Now at this point, if it's turn whatever, if it's turn 2, you can probably OTK, because you can go into Pentastag and then just smack all of the defense position monsters with piercing. May as well use Reichphobia's effect at this point, target a token and destroy it. Then we can go into Astrolaud by banishing a couple of monsters. Summoning Astrolaud, its effect can then destroy another token. And because we searched for Palabyrinth, we can now activate it. Use Palabyrinth's effect, targeting Chaos Archfiend, getting rid of the token. Then we can either summon Empress, and that will allow us to have a pretty beefy wall, because we've got Empress to protect. Chaos Archfiend floats. Empress will also float back into Chaos Archfiend, and Link Mail Archfiend provides an AoE monster effect protection, so it's really good. Also, Link Mail protects itself. If it gets destroyed, you just banish a Synchro monster instead, basically. Or if you really want, you can summon Archfiend Emperor, use its effect, banish your Heiress to destroy the remaining token. So then you get rid of all the tokens that you generated for them, basically. It's now going to show you basically the same combo, but just an added extra step. So I've summoned P.U.N.K and summoned the tokens, right? So we're going to go into Lich Heart, search our Reichphobia, activate it to search for our Scareclaw monster. So this is going to allow us to search for a rival, and it also allows us to draw a card. So it's all nice and dandy, everybody. At this point, just activate this and pop a token before you forget. Link off all the monsters that you need to in order to summon Link Mail Archfiend. Also, it should be noted that Link Mail, like if this was turn 2, you can reduce all of their attacks by a card that you select in your graveyards. Link Mail is also quite a good offensive card as well. Anyway, activate Arrival, bring Nova back from the graveyard. Then before we synchro off, we can revive Lich Heart. Now we can summon Chaos Archfiend, and then we can banish our Samsara and Reich Heart to summon Astrolaud. Astrolaud will pop a second token. So now we can do one of two things. We can get rid of our last token into Link Spider, link that and Lich Heart off into Pentastag, and then you've got a piercing Chaos Archfiend that can attack everything. At which point maybe you shouldn't have blown up things, right? Or we can activate Archfiend Palabyrinth, then activate its effect, target Chaos Archfiend, banish our remaining token, summon Empress onto our side of the field, and then with our Astrolaud and Lich Heart, we can just link those away into SP Little Knight. And its effect, so if it's turn 1, this is probably a good idea to do, you can banish the last token that they have. So this gives you a fairly nice setup, to be honest. You have your Link Mail, which gives you your AoE protection. You have your Empress, which can protect and revive. You have your Chaos Archfiend, which will float. And then we've also got Little Knight as an additional banish. So this is quite a nice end board. It doesn't really provide like much disruption, but it's basically a wall, which is what Archfiends kind of excel at, if you want to call it that. So here's kind of what the deck looks like with the P.U.N.K cards included. Summon a Monk is just kind of an extra Samsara. It's really nice to just find more ways into it, but I encourage you to think of a build that best fits you, really. So there you have it, ladies and gentlemen. That'll do.